Hey guys, so we're out here in Blanco County hunting. It's my first hunt of the season. We're set up at a blind called Bomb Shelter South. I have my Primus set up here, my first time hunting with this new bow. I'm super excited. We have a lot of animals we're looking for. Any whitetail, axis. If a hog comes along, maybe take a shot at that. But we're super hopeful, and we can't wait to take you along for the ride.
So we saw a herd of axis that ran kind of to our east. We're hoping they'll make their way over here. I don't know if they will. They're kind of in the area where they like to bed down, but they may come out this way. So, and there's actually a couple of different herds. So we had seen one back to our north. They typically work back to the south, so I'm hoping they'll come right through here on their way back out. So we're looking for a good afternoon. Thank y'all for joining us.
Yeah, she's coming in. There's another one back there. She stopped. I don't know if that's her actually. I don't know which one she is.
Okay, well, we'll have to watch the video here.
Did you get it on video?
Yeah.
That one's running. They're all back there, right on the right side of this little birdie.
Yeah, the longer they stand there, the better.
You think?
Yeah.
Are they like, why? What does that mean?
It means that you hit her and she's bleeding. She'll stand there and bleed out, hopefully.
True. They're like, what the heck just happened?
Okay, so Hannah just shot a doe. As you saw, we're going to ease up to where she shot her and see if we can look at the arrow. And then we're going to back out.
I see my arrow.
Yep.
She's covered in blood.
What?
She's got blood on her.
No, it's gut.
Oh, is it? Dang it.
Smell it.
I don't want to.
Is it?
That sounds like a terrible idea. It's covered in something. Definitely cut. Dang
That's
it.
good. Okay, we're going to leave that right there. We're going to back out and leave it better. We're going to have to give her a lot of time.
Okay. Do you think she's bedded down back there where they ran?
Yeah, she may have just laid down back there. Okay, I think we'll just leave everything in the blind.
Okay.
Walk back to the truck.
Can I grab my water?
Grab her drinks.
Okay. Last night I shot a doe We went out and tracked her, didn't find any blood. She was quartering towards me, so it was kind of a low shot, and I got a little bit of gut in there. So we didn't find any blood, some gut. We did find a little bit of matter from her guts on the ground, but nothing to lead us to her. After our hunt this morning, Dad and I went out there, and the buzzards had found her. We did find her. I got her, but it was a little bit low, and she was quartering to me, not away, so angles matter.
All right, so as I'm sitting here editing this video and going through it, there's a couple of things that I picked up that I missed on the night of the shot, and adds to my frustration just a little bit. Not really frustration, but did want to address a couple of things. First thing I want to mention is there was a pile of corn. Casey and I had a bucket of corn that that was back at camp. It had got a little bit of moisture in it, and so it was almost a soured corn, and we decided to dump it out. There were hogs coming into the location where we were hunting. We decided to dump it out there, and of course then Hannah and I decided to go hunt it. Sure enough, the doe that she shot ended up coming directly to that corn, and so it was a little bit distracting. So not a big deal, just one of those things that I wanted to mention. So the second thing, and more importantly, is I almost hesitated to even post this video. Is an unrecovered animal. It's kind of one of those things. Do I want to show when we don't have a recovery, or Hannah and I kind of talked about it the next morning after we found it, and we decided what are some things that we can learn from it. So we talked through some different things as far as shot placement, shot angles, those kind of thing, and so it was a learning experience. Ultimately, I decided I'm going to go ahead and post it because I think some of those things can help you as well. And I really liked what Hannah had to say at the end of her little commentary there at the end of the video. Angles matter. I didn't have that conversation with her, but I thought that was pretty clever and spot on. Angles matter. I'm still a little frustrated that there wasn't a little bit more blood and a little bit better blood trail, but I think it was really more of a tracking problem than it was a shot placement issue, and I'm convinced of that, especially after watching the video as I'm editing it here. One thing that I will mention, and I want to ask Hannah about, is she made the comment in the video, I don't know if you can hear it, but she said, I'm waiting for it to turn broadside. So I admire her patience in that, waiting for the right shot angle. But then the doe turned broadside. Hannah actually raised up her bow, but she didn't draw and shoot while the animal was broadside. In the video, you can hear me say, there's your shot, and then followed that up with, you don't like it. And so I don't know, I didn't know at the time if she didn't really have the angle. We were looking at different windows, so I don't know if she didn't have quite the angle that she was looking for there, or the shot window that she was looking for there. As the deer started walking forward, of course, it turned more broadside, and eventually, as Hannah drew, turned more quartering to. Again, I think she made a good shot, and it was a little bit more of a tracking issue than it was a shot placement issue. So when I went back and we looked at the video on the computer that night before we did the tracking, I was mainly looking at where was the shot placement. Unfortunately, I didn't spend enough time following through. I initially thought, and you can see that I panned the camera past where the feeder was, I thought she took off directly to our left and kept going that way and maybe circled back around. But you can see clearly from the video as you watch it through that she made a couple of bounds to our left and then cut straight back. There were three does in that group. We saw two of them after the shot, and so we kind of thought maybe she was in that area, and then we saw two of them take off back, I guess it would be to the west. Ultimately, we ended up finding her back to the south. So that's where we focused our effort in looking for blood and blood trail. You heard me make the comment that if she stands there, she'll bleed, hopefully bleed out. She didn't bleed out, but for whatever reason, we just couldn't pick up any blood leading to that area. We couldn't find any blood around that area, and of course it was in the dark. But the next morning we stopped back by there and we walked directly to that spot where we thought they were standing, and sure enough there was a pretty good pool of blood right there. There wasn't much leading up to it or much leading out from that. So I took kind of the same path that the other two deer had taken back to the west, and there's kind of an open field out there, and so I took my binoculars and I glassed that area, and then as I glassed back to the south, I saw a buzzard fly land, and I saw another couple of buzzards, so I knew that that's where it was. So naturally we went and picked it up there. So I'm really frustrated that we weren't able to pick up that pool of blood right there and give us an idea of where she went. Ultimately, we kind of started talking ourselves out of maybe she wasn't with those other two and had gone a completely different direction. So we started focusing our search in a little bit different area. But for whatever reason, we just couldn't pick up the blood trail on that evening hunt that night with our flashlights. And so I think if we had gone back, watched that video a little bit more in detail of what happened afterwards, maybe we would have picked up on that. So again, it's a learning experience. I decided to go ahead and post this and share that with you. And I ultimately made another hunt the next evening and had a little bit better success, and we'll have that in a separate video. So I appreciate you tuning into this one. Hopefully you'll extend us a little bit of grace that we didn't find this one. We do have more videos coming up. We've got a successful hunt that Hannah did the next evening that we posted up soon. And then I've got another hunt from actually earlier in the week that I will be posting as well. So again, if you want to see that content, please hit that subscribe button, and we'll look forward to seeing you on that next video.